Yeah, whether you want to believe it or not, you had better believe it. Look at the goblin in the middle of these two eagle type looking heads. Do you see the alien in the middle when you mirror these objects together? Do you?
Now, everybody's been astounded by Apple's technology, and everybody's also seen the symbology involved in Apple's technology. For instance, this is their logo. Not only does it refer to the fall of mankind, the Garden of Eden, but if put to a mirror, this is the image that you get. And everybody also knows the first price of the first Apple computer was $666.66. And sure, it's just a coincidence. I get you. But let's listen to what every groundbreaking technology inventor had to say. What was their muse? What was their inspiration? Where did they get their ideas from? These are things that never before existed that these people pioneered. Everybody, going back as far as Tesla, got help from the other side. It's all been documented. It came to them in a dream. There was a muse that brought it to them. Same thing with the Nazis, with their Vril Society, where they would summon demons and get information that allowed them to build things that had never been seen before. We entered World War II using planes with propellers, while the Nazis were using jets, some sort of technology that had never been seen before. And it's no secret that all the people in high places, NASA's scientists, computer scientists, all the way up to the D-Wave, they are communicating with the other side. That's why they use all the symbolism. That's why they use things like the D-Wave computer. If you followed me for any length of time, you know that I used to do a weekly show with Anthony Patch, someone that studied CERN and all the white papers associated with it. But on my show, I was one of the first to actually describe D-Wave as not a computer at all.
I remember
Simply
that.
An interdimensional communication device.
Like a
They use
telephone.
CERN to connect to the other side and get information from fallen angels and other entities that are actually convincing humanity to build their own demise. And that's exactly what they're doing. D-Wave isn't a computer at all. It's simply a Ouija board on steroids. And that's a fact. That's all this thing is. It's a hardline telephone to the other side.
Yeah, telephone.
Nothing more.
Right?
That's why when they first hired computer guys to help them build it, they had to let go of everybody and they had to bring in a specialized team. That's also why they use only in-house. They don't use outside vendors for anything because they don't want computer people looking at this machine and understanding what I'm telling you right now. D-Wave is nothing more than a telephone. And D-Wave is the biggest telephone to the other side. D-Wave allows them to not have to do all the extensive rituals that we've watched them do over the years right in front of our eyes. D-Wave allows them to communicate, but I'm getting off topic here. Back to Apple. Apple has always been known for their secrecy. Apple's company has been called, Apple is known for their secrecy. Their company is called a wall of secrecy. People that work for Apple have to sign extensive agreements to not share anything.
Yeah, non-disclosure.
And I got a funny feeling this right here is what they don't want to share. These aren't aliens. These are demonic entities that Apple speaks with. That would explain the pricing. I mean, they show us this information right in front of our faces, and people just write it all off as coincidence.
I don't fault Apple for its culture of secrecy, and I think one of the fascinating debates that corporations should be having is, do we need to do a better job of shutting up? Apple's perhaps the most secretive company anywhere. It's every bit as secretive as an intelligence agency. So think about the CIA. As secretive as an intelligence agency.
Make you
So
think
about
twice
the
about
CIA
buying an
agency. So
iPhone,
think about
won't
the
it?
CIA. Apple considers everything to be a secret. Now, every company keeps secrets. No company wants its product plans to get out to the public or to its competitors. Apple shuts its own employees out of what's going on. Your job at Apple is your job. Otherwise, you mind your own business. You don't poke your nose into what he's doing or what she's doing. The only people who know everything that's going on at Apple are the people at the very top. And so many Apple employees will get together in one of the cafeterias at Apple on the day of a major keynote to watch the keynote, whether it was Steve Jobs before he died or Tim Cook more recently, to find out what the products are going to be that are released, even if they worked on those products. They may know a piece of it, but only their piece. That
Compartmentalization.
new employee orientation at Apple, which happens every Monday, one of the facets of orientation is the security briefing. And a security official from Apple sits down with the new employees and says to them, we take secrets very seriously here. If you divulge the secrets that you learn at Apple, you'll be fired. And what this has done is created a culture of fear, but also a culture of discipline. This manifests itself in very strange ways socially. So,
Let's take a little trip. Bear with me, folks. AT&T has been involved in several warrantless surveillance programs. Several! With the U.S. government, including Data Analytical Services, DAS, also known as Hemisphere. This program allows law enforcement agencies to request searches of phone records that use AT&T infrastructure without a warrant. According to Wired, DAS collects and analyzes more than 1 trillion domestic phone calls annually. The undisputed documents show that AT&T installed fiber splitter. Well, they were installing fiber optics while you fucking sheep were asleep during the COVID. I literally put it on my channel, watching them install it. I'll have to go back and I'll repost them because it was from a former channel that I had. Same prefix, but with 2.0, I believe. And you still might be able to find it on YouTube because they deleted me from my email, so I can't reopen that channel. They didn't take away my IP address like they did on my first one, and yet it still remains up there. So the fiber optic splitter at its facility at 611 Folsom Street in San Francisco that makes copies of emails, web browsing, and other internet traffic to AT&T customers and provides those copies to the National Security Agency, or NSA. Look into room 214A, lowercase a. 614, lowercase a. What is room 614, lowercase a? And it will go into depth on the warrantless surveillance.
This manifests itself in very strange ways socially. So manifests itself in very spoken to people who play in a regular poker game with Apple employees. And when the subject of Apple comes up at the poker table, the people who work at Apple shut up. They change the subject. Valley engineers are famous for wanting to talk about their work and trade ideas about what's going on with their companies. Apple engineers are largely separate from the rest of the Valley. Some people don't.
Now, do I think that Android is any better than an Apple phone, or an iPhone rather? No. No, they're all interconnected. They're all watching you. They're all listening to you. They're taking video and pictures of you with your phone. Put a piece of tape over your phone and have a friend call your phone. And I bet you won't be able to answer that phone call until you take that piece of tape off of your camera on the front of your phone. Give it a try. What do you got to lose, right? Put your finger over the fucking thing. Jeez, man, wake up.
Like that. Those people don't last at Apple. Some people want to talk about what they're doing with their friends or with colleagues at other companies. Those people don't last at Apple.
Now, you just saw that. That was from a documentary I did about, I'd probably say about 8 months ago, and it was talking about Apple and the ins and outs and the working.
Thank you, Richie from Boston, man. You really opened my eyes, brother. Yeah, and before you was William Milton Cooper, who actually opened my eyes. Back in the 90s, I used to listen to him on my shortwave radio, and every Friday night I was just blown away.
Of Apple and how they relate to AI. Now we're going to switch gears, and I'm going to bring you over to the Phoenix.
It might have been a different night for other people in your area, but here in Southern California, I would listen to him on my shortwave. I do not remember the frequency out of the top of my head, but it was every Friday night, okay?
The Phoenix holds an enormous spot in Freemasonry, so much so that you will find it on the back of your dollar bill. We saw it at the Olympics. The Freemasons love their Phoenix. The Phoenix has been used throughout history and ties back to the Illuminati, the elites, the powers that be, and Freemasons specifically.
The phoenix is a mythical, sacred firebird that can be found in the mythologies of the Persians, Greeks, Romans, Egyptians, Chinese, and Japanese. It is a fire spirit with a colorful plumage and a tail of gold.
Like I say, folks, nothing new under the sun. This stuff has been going on in time immemorial, long before you were here.
Gold and scarlet. Some legends indicate a tail of purple, blue, and green. This fabulous bird was associated with the worship of the sun and the Egyptian sun god Ra. Only one phoenix existed at any time, and it was very long-lived. In its twilight hour, the phoenix fashioned a nest of aromatic boughs and spices. Then it set fire to the nest and was consumed in the flames. A new phoenix miraculously sprang from the pyre. Then, after embalming its father's ashes in an egg of myrrh, it flew to the city of the sun, Heliopolis, in Egypt, where it deposited the ashes onto the altar in the temple of the Egyptian sun god Ra. The Greek historian Herodotus is credited with introducing the legend of the phoenix into Western culture after his travels in Egypt. In his masterpiece, The Histories, in the 5th century BCE, Herodotus tells of many new fantastic beasts, including the crocodile, the hippopotamus, and the phoenix. In later antiquity, the phoenix was compared to the undying Rome, and it appears on the coinage of the late Roman Empire as the symbol of the eternal city. It was also widely interpreted as an allegory of resurrection and life after death. In Chinese mythology, the phoenix, Feng Huang, is the symbol of high virtue and grace and of power and prosperity. It represents the union of yin and yang. It was thought to be a gentle creature, alighting so gently that it crushed nothing and ate only dewdrops. Images of the phoenix appeared throughout China for well over 7,000 years, often in jade and originally on good luck totems. The Ho-U is the Japanese phoenix, the Ho being the male bird and the U being the female bird. Introduced to Japan in the Asuka period during the mid-6th to mid-7th century CE, it greatly resembles the Chinese phoenix in appearance. It was also adopted as a symbol of the royal family, particularly the Empress. It is supposed to represent the sun, justice, fidelity, and obedience. Nowadays, the phoenix is a very popular symbol used in literature, all fields of arts, movies, band names, heraldry, and even manga stories. As usual, we are closing with a good piece of advice. If you are dying, don't set fire to your house.
So now you may be asking yourself, why am I showing you the Phoenix, Freemasonry, the history of the Phoenix, how far it goes back, how it relates to the sun, how it relates to the esoteric, and how almost every single civilization worshipped it in one way or another. And why does that tie in with Apple? Well, stand by. Apple is launching its new iPhone X, the Phoenix. You get it? The Phoenix.
All right, I'm gonna have to try this a minute. Let's see, 1046. My friend sent me a video today from Florida. Not gonna be able to find it that way. And what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna show you, doggone it, I'm just gonna show you the last part of her video and what the sun was doing. She lives down in Florida, okay? All right. Watch this.
There she is. There she is.
There's our friend.
And let's see what the Sim's doing today. Oh my goodness. There she's a dancing. Whenever I show y'all, oh, she's not doing nothing. Looky, looky, looky.
All right? What's up with that? Pulsating.
She's a...
Bring you back.
Those people don't last at Apple.
In later antiquity, the phoenix is a very popular symbol used in
Decided to make
the royal family, particularly the
On it. 1046 we're at. Okay. So right there.
Now, a lot of people could say, well, that's just Apple being clever because of they fell behind. The Apple 6, the iPhone 7, they weren't big. People didn't love them the way they thought they would. So they decided to make an iPhone X. It's wall-to-wall glass, and of course, the price is $999.
Flip
It couldn't
that
have been
upside down.
$949 or $1,001. It had to be 666 inverted. Now, if you know anything about the esoteric nature of these people, everything is forward, everything is backwards. And I believe it was Aleister Crowley that recommended people learn how to do everything forward, backward, and upside down. Because God created everything, and the devil does everything in reverse. He cannot create, he can only duplicate.
Or
At any rate.
destroy.
Apple's new iPhone, to me, I still have an old iPhone 5S, a very old phone, and I still use it because I don't want a new scrying mirror. I don't want a new method to allow these things in my life. And I believe that's exactly what these things are. These will allow these will allow entities to enter into your subconsciousness. Maybe that's why people are so stuck to their cell phones. It's absolutely unbelievable to me. But that's what these things are. There's no coincidence. I've gone over it ad nauseum. I will leave links in the description for a video that I did about
I don't have the links. I'm sorry, because all that stuff is gone. The person that is actually sharing this again is only posting the what they took off the thumb drive. So I don't think that, or thumb drive or data backup. I'm not sure how they did it, he or she. But I do thank you, fan page, for preserving this material so we can also share it out and remind people.
electronic sigils, televisions, scrying mirrors, crystal balls, etc. And it wasn't just supposition or a guess on my behalf. I actually showed all the patents associated with this. And the video's done very well. People receptive. I mean, this was just something that came to me. And I understand I started this video out by saying that these people had visions, they had ideas, they had memes, they had muses that just came to them. Or they did a ritual, so forth and so on. Well, I'd have to say that I was guided by the Holy Spirit on this particular one, because this all came to me and it resonated with people in a really big way. And again, the patents prove it. Apple being associated with the CIA, intelligence, the Garden of Eden, demonic activity in their never-ending use of things like 666, 999, as above, so below, the Phoenix Rising.
Right? Nothing new
I
under
would
the
recommend
sun.
to everybody, throw away your smartphones. Go back, if you have to carry a cell phone, which in this society you have to. I use one all the time because I use them to make videos when I'm not able to do it in my office or at my house. I use my cell phone, but I don't listen to music. I don't watch television. I do watch programs from now, every now and then when people send them to me as they relate. And for instance, the Black Mirror is a video on Netflix, a movie or whatever you call it. And it literally shows exactly what their intentions are. And it's exactly what I'm telling you now. At any rate, the new iPhone Phoenix is rising $999. It represents rebirth.
And look, folks, this was from 2017, okay? Richie has been on top of this for a long, long, long time. Are you paying attention to what I got showing right here? I sure hope you are. Because they are scraping your thoughts, whether you believe it or not.
After mass destruction, and I don't think that's a coincidence. At any rate, Richie from Boston, the links will be in the description. Like, share, subscribe, and throw away your television. I'm out.
Or don't.